His death, it was thank you for doing that Peace Creek revival. Dan Leach, Carrie Hussey, Tiffany, Andy, I think all of those cats were on there. See what the Lord has done. That's because you understand and you watch and you do things. Well, if you need some glasses, go to Rubin Optical. He's located at 615 Cross Street. He takes care of our optical needs, and Alan provides excellent service. Contact Alan Rubin at 637-8825. He's been a friend and my eyeglasses optician provider for years. I trust him. I recommend that you do. Big John's Lloyd Boys Barbecue. They believe in smacking. Yep, lip smacking, gum smacking, barbecue smacking good. It's some great barbecue. Go on, if you haven't been on the Facebook for Building a Zoo, please do. We try to publish at on that Facebook information about our sponsors, and so that you can go and click on their sites too and support them. They support me, please support them. Big John's Lloyd and Boys Barbecue is located on US 41 northbound at Charlotte. That's at 502 King Street. They've got delivery, they've got catering. You call Big John at 941-391-1533. They've got specials, racks of ribs, sides, choice of cornbread, garlic bread, or dinner rolls. They're working hard at this business. It's the best barbecue in town. They sell pulled pork, sausage, and beef brisket by the pound or whole chicken. Don't forget about their specials: a full rack of ribs, 2 large sides, and 4 pieces of bread, $30. Yeah, $10 they can do a 10-piece chicken, 12 large sides, 4 pieces of bread. They've got some good, and it's lip smacking. You watch your tongue. It'll be smacking the side of your head trying to get to that barbecue. So, Executive Cooling and Heating. These guys have strong community commitment. They are very active in youth sports and youth activities and fishing. They're fully licensed and insured. You call Executive Cooling and Heating for maintenance, repairs, and new installations at 941-637-9800. Since 1988, Executive Cooling and Heating has been providing Southwest Florida with cooling, heating, maintenance, repairs, and new installations. Call them 637-9800. And I told you about the Celtic Ray and its open mics, but this pub is a community pub. You sit and meet people. You talk to people. It doesn't have TVs that keep dragging your attention away. It's a place where you have conversations. It's the best fish and chips on this side of the Atlantic. It's located downtown in the heart of Punta Gorda. Comedy night tonight. Tomorrow's Bloody Bug Jug Band at 10 p.m. And Saturday, don't miss Paul Duffy at 8 p.m. They've got specials each night. They've got Sunday's open mic. Bring your instruments. Tuesday is Service Industry Night. $1 off on each food and drink item if you're an employee in the service industry. This is located at the corner of Nesbitt and Marion. It's got a full liquor bar, and the full menu is open till 2 a.m. every night. Every night. And Miller's Dockside Bar and Grill, if you're over at the West End, if you're over on the Gulf and anywhere near Boca Grande, go in to the Boca Grande Marina. They've got a Miller's Dockside Bar and Grill that'll be open up once the season kicks off, 1st of October. But the marina's open now, and they've got fuel from 8 in the morning till 5 in the evening. They've got slips that accommodate vessels up to 150 feet. They've got daily or overnight rates with or without shore power and water hookups. The Marina Dock office is 941-964-2100. Give them a call. Go see them. Go visit Boca Grande. You can rent a golf cart from the folks here at the Boca Grande Marina and visit the rest of the island too. And they'd love your visit, particularly this time of year. So, let me read to you from Vernon Peoples' book. And this is how this is going to fit. Is I'm going to work from here to Puerto Rico, to some of the history of that, to the UN Agenda 21, and the referendum that they're having in Puerto Rico concerning whether they want to remain in their current status or become a state or an independent And so that's coming up. But let me talk first that you ought to get this book if you don't have it. Punta Gorda in the Beginning, 1865 to 1900. It's Vernon Peoples Sr. As I get started on this, let me say that the history and the rich natural resources that we have in this community, they're recognized by people who live here, and those who don't know about it have an opportunity to learn about it through the Charlotte Harbor Environmental Center. Check. And they've got two locations, one on Alligator Creek there at Burnt Store Road, just south of Punta Gorda, and one out at Cedar Point in West County on Lemon Bay. We're going to have a big bash. They've been 25 years as an organization, and November 3rd at the Alligator Creek Park and November 4th at the Cedar Point Park, we're going to have a celebration of that 25-year anniversary. We're going to have food, swamp cabbage, hogs, fish. There'll be tours. There will also be music and lecture series. Pay attention to that. Go ahead and mark it on your calendar. November 3rd in the Punta Gorda area and November 4th in the Englewood area. You can go to both of them. There's no prohibition of doing that. But let me go to Regulating Fishing in Charlotte Harbor, and this comes from Punta Gorda in the Beginning, 1865 to 1900 by Vernon Peoples Sr. This is page 177. Spanish fishermen from Cuba took advantage of the fishing grounds along the Gulf and the Atlantic coast of Florida as early as the 1740s. And that activity continued with occasional interruption until the Civil War, when it was essentially halted. Before that, before it was a Cuban industry, the native peoples were working these waters and harvesting, and they resisted the Cubans for centuries. And I mean, Juan Ponce de Leon, when he showed up here, he got an arrow in his behind and went back and died in Havana. But the Spanish fishermen from Cuba, after the Calusa were decimated and finally some remnants of them ended up back in Havana, they started coming back up and fishing these same waters, the Charlotte Harbor area that their ancestors had fished. And so these Spanish fishermen from Cuba were a mixture mostly of some Spanish but a lot of Indian from these areas. Well, there was a long-standing bias against Spanish fishermen that prevailed in Florida government, and as Florida government consolidated, the Florida legislature in 1865 passed an act that would virtually prevent fishermen from Cuba from fishing Florida waters. The act levied a tax on each vessel or smack owned by a non-resident and fishing in Florida waters. The Florida legislature passed a bill in March of 1879 regulating the catching of fish and protecting fisheries of this state. The act prescribed the size of meshes and gill nets in order for smaller fish to escape. No person would be allowed to put up fisheries or fish for profit unless it had been in the state at least 6 months. Enforcement was by the county commissioners. And these were protectionist ideas against people who had been coming in from before there were local people. But once there were local people here, they wanted to protect theirs. And as a matter of fact, John Bartholoff, in his book South Florida, the Italy of America, made a protectionist plea. The waters of Charlotte Harbor teem with fish of every description, more especially the mullet, which during the fall months, the schooling season, are caught in immense numbers by Spanish ranchees or fishermen who, notwithstanding all laws to the contrary, annually establish themselves on the islands of Charlotte Harbor and, operating with great seines, catch, salt, and cure fish which are sent by scooter load to Cuba, affording but another instance of the neglect on the part of the government to properly protect our home industries and sources of revenue. Foreigners are permitted to come to our shores and engage in the fishing business, and then in the most wasteful, extravagant manner calculated to entirely destroy the fish without affording any revenue to the government whatever. So, new people here wanted to protect it from people who were coming because they weren't from here. Has that played out other places? Other people, do they want people from the United States in there on their natural resources? Well, in Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans, Studies in History and Society, edited by Alberto Lopez and James Petrus. We get into some of what those ideas, some of the attitude of people in Puerto Rico, at least the historical attitude from people in there. Before I move forward, I want to tell you that if you like the outdoors, if you like fishing, if you like hunting, if you like doing the kinds of things that the outdoors avails you, the recreational kinds of properties, you need to call Gordon McMartin. You can do that, and he's associated with Cabela Properties, and he's located in Arcadia, but he serves all of Southwest Florida. And I'm trying to get to where I put that about him, because I want you to call Gordon McMartin, and I have it right here. He's the owner and broker of Martin Realty of Florida. He's associated with Cabela Trophy Properties. Please call him at 863-494-2100. He's an outdoorsman himself, and he's been on the show here. He's a singer-songwriter. He just played his Symbols of Florida to the Leadership Florida group that he's been part of. He knows what's going on. He understands land. He understands people. He knows how to put people and land together. If you're in the market for recreational property from the sea to the countryside, then give Mac Martin a call, 863-494-2100. I needed to get that in because I'm about to read something that may be a little more controversial than we may get some phone calls from this coming up. While I'm thinking about it, before I get going too hard, there's a flea market on the train dock. The Punta Gorda Historic Train Depot Antique and Collectibles Mall has an outdoor flea market which runs from 8:30